In this video, I'm going to teach you another one of the model in place commands, which is the revolve command. And we're going to use this to create these columns right here. Now, these columns could be created with extrusions, which we'll learn in a little bit, but it's quicker to make them by just simple revolve command. Now, with revolve commands, all you need to do is select the profile here that you are going to create, and then the line at which you want the shape to revolve around. So just as with anything else, you're going to go to the Architecture tab and hit Component and Model in Place. We can call these columns. And then what I'm going to do now is select this solid revolve command. It's going to ask me to pick a plane, again, wanting that reference plane. So I'll go to the view and then the default 3D view to select it. And we want that front wall. Now we're going to go back to the model and it's going to say, do I want to continue? Yes, I do. So now that it's got the command ready, or pardon me, it's got the reference plane ready, I want to model in place once again. Okay, now revolve again. Okay, now I want to go back to that south elevation because again, that's going to give me my profile. I'm going to start by creating the boundary line. Let's see, it's not going to let me grab this. Let's take a look. Nope. Okay, something's going wrong with looks like something's going wrong with that wall plane. So let's try that again. Let's view and do a 3D view. Actually, let's get out of this command first, see what's going on. Okay, let's try it again. And it doesn't really matter which plane you select. You just want to make sure that you select one that's vertically, that's facing vertically. For some reason, Revit was getting mad about that one. So let me go ahead and I can just pick this plane for now because it's flat and it's facing in the correct direction. Okay, now let's go to Model in Place once again, columns again. And I'm going to do a revolve. And in order to figure out to select that boundary line, I want to look at, once again, the south facing elevation. And it should allow me to draw. There it goes. Okay, so see, it's grabbing the midpoint of that column. And I'm just going down, over, down, over. Okay, now I'm going to the midpoint here. However, if I created this column and this line was closer to the edge towards the left, when I hit this axis line, if it's not the midpoint, then it'll create a void in the center. So here I'm selecting the axis line in the middle. And then I hit the green checkbox and it's going to revolve around this access point. Okay. Now, it's created this column here. But once again, if I were to edit this and I selected this and I edited the revolve and I moved this over and I moved the axis line over, Then as it, I would still have to adjust this line so that it didn't overlap. And if I revolve this around this midpoint line right here, it'll have a hole in the middle. And I'll show you. See, it's got a hole in the middle because the axis line was in the center, but the profile was off center. So I'm going to undo that, but just keep that in mind. That's helpful to know if you wanted to, for example, create a revolve that created, for example, like a pendant light, and you wanted there to be an opening in the middle for the light bulb. That's how you would create that void. So we'll go back to when it was centered correctly. I'm just hitting the undo command. And now you can see that column's ready to go. Now, if I want to move this, because eventually it's going to be a part of the frontispiece that we add on, I can move it with my arrows up and down and left and right, but it's not going to operate and move the way that I want it to on the plan because of the reference plane that it's on. See, there's the column right there. And I'm moving my down arrow and it won't let me move it. It'll go left and right, but it won't go down. So in order to move this, eventually, we are going to have to remove its restrictions. But for right now, we'll leave it as is because we're going to be working with it a little bit later. But that is how you create a revolve. And it can be really helpful for things that have the same profile all the way around.